Hello friends! Today we're stepping into Irish mythology to meet one of Ireland's greatest heroes, Cú Chulainn. And when I say great, that is no exaggeration. This is a warrior who faced a whole army by himself and who tied himself to a standing stone so that even in death he would remain on his feet. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because before he was the fearsome champion Cú Chulainn, before the battlefield glory and his tragic end, he was just a boy called Sétanta. And today, we're exploring the tale of how he got the name the world would remember. Many thanks to Armand Madara for the suggestion, and welcome to Folktale Vault. I'm the curator, and this is the story of Sétanta and the Hound. Our tale is set roughly around the turn of the 1st century in ancient Ulster, one of the 4 provinces of Ireland. The king of Ulster is Cú Chulainn, and he rules from Ewan Macha. He is also Sétanta's uncle. At Ewan Macha, the king keeps a boy troop called the Macra, a company of noble boys being trained for the life of warriors. They run, wrestle, spar, and compete in feats of strength and skill. They also play hurling, a fast-paced and ancient Irish sport that is still played today. Played with a stick called the hurley and a ball called the slitter. Think of it as a combination of field hockey, lacrosse and baseball. And the best of these boys would someday join the king's elite warriors, the Creve Rua, or the Red Branch Knights. And Sétanta wants nothing more than to be one of them. And that longing for glory, for honor, for a name worth remembering, that will define his whole life, because Sétanta is no ordinary child. His mother Dectina is the king's sister, and his father is said to be Lu, one of the Tuatha De Danann, a group of powerful beings who are, roughly speaking, like the gods of Irish mythology. So even from the beginning, there is something larger than life about him. But at this point, he's still just a 7-year-old boy. So when he begs to join the boy troop, of course his mother refuses, saying he is too young. Sétanta, however, is not the sort of child who accepts no as the end of the conversation. So one day while his mother is away, he takes his hurling gear and sets off for Ewan Macha alone. It's a bold thing for a small boy to do, but boldness, as we'll see, is one of Sétanta's defining qualities. When he finally arrives, the Macra are in the middle of a hurling match. Sétanta is thrilled. Without a second thought, he rushes straight onto the field, joins the play, and scores! It's a pretty strong first impression. There's just one tiny problem. Sétanta has broken an important custom. Before joining the boy troop in their game, he should have asked for their protection. By charging in unannounced, he has effectively challenged them all, and they immediately attack him all at once. This goes badly for them. Despite being younger than every one of them, Sétanta fights them off single-handedly. He dodges their blows, strikes back with his hurling, and leaves the boy troop sprawled across the ground. The uproar brings out the king, who is greeted by a remarkable sight. A 7-year-old boy standing victorious over all his young warriors. The misunderstanding is soon cleared up when Sétanta explains who he is and what happened. And far from punishing him, Cú is astonished by the boy's courage and skill. Sétanta is welcomed into the Macra. And from that moment on, people begin to understand that this boy is special. Time passes, and one day a blacksmith named Cullen invites King Cú and his household to a feast. As the king is preparing to leave, Sétanta is in the middle of yet another hurling game. He doesn't want to stop, so he tells his uncle,
"You go on ahead, and I'll follow after I'm done here."
So Cú leaves with the others. When the guests arrive at Cullen's house, the smith asks,
"Is everyone safely inside?"
Because once the doors are closed, he intends to release his guard dog, a massive, ferocious hound that protects the place through the night. And here Cú makes a mistake. He forgets about Sétanta and tells Cullen,
"Aye, everyone's here."
and the hound is released. Meanwhile, Sétanta finally finishes his game and starts to make his way to the feast. But as he approaches Cullen's house, he is met by the terrible figure of the hound. Huge, snarling, and merciless. The creature looks at the boy, growling, and charges straight for him. Now Sétanta has no weapons on him, but he has his hurley and his slitter. So in one swift motion, he takes the ball, strikes it with all his strength, and sends it flying straight down the house's throat. Inside the house, the people hear the noise, and Grahor freezes as he remembers. Sétanta. Everyone rushes outside, expecting to find the boy torn apart. Instead, they find him standing unharmed, with the great hound lying dead at his feet. The king and his company are overjoyed, and they congratulate the young man on his amazing feat. But not everyone is celebrating, because Cúlainn loved that hound. He guarded his home faithfully, and it wasn't just a beast to him, but a protector, a companion, and a part of his household. Sétanta sees his grief and immediately understands what he has done. Yes, he killed the hound in self-defense, but he also sees the loss his actions have caused, and he does not turn away from it. Instead, he steps forward and says something extraordinary.
Until you raise a new pup, I will be your hound.
It's an astonishing promise, especially from one so young. Moved by such a noble promise, Cúlainn agrees. And from that moment on, Sétanta is given a new name, Cú Chulainn, the Hound of Cúlainn. And that name will become one of the most famous in all of Irish mythology. Because the boy who made that promise will go on to become Ulster's greatest champion. Fierce, brilliant, larger than life, and so many great heroes are doomed to a tragic fate. But that's a story for another day. Thank you for listening. I love this story because it works so beautifully as an origin tale. Yes, it gives us action, myth, and drama, but it also gives us character. In just this story, we see the qualities that will define Cú Chulainn for the rest of his legend. His pride and impulsivity, but also his honor and dignity. Now, there are many more stories of Cú Chulainn and his incredible feats, so we'll definitely be coming back to him again at some point. But if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and let me know what culture should we explore next. Until next time, my friends, stay curious, stay kind, keep the stories alive.